Well, it's 9:15 here in South Africa, 10:15 on the plains of Arafah. They got about 2 hours or so to go, give or take, before Wukuf time starts, before the khutbah will be delivered at Masjid Namiram, and before the Hujjaj plug into the greatest moments of their lives. All right, joining us on the program, we have Dr. Ismail Vadi, well-known politician, former MP, former MEC, here in Gauteng, an author as well. Man with many caps of experience and wisdom. Also a Haji. Ismail Bhai, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, Maulana. How are you keeping?
Alhamdulillah, and yourself?
Allah shukr. We haven't spoken for quite some time, so it's good talking to you.
Yeah, lovely talking on the topic of Hajj. So my colleague Muadaya tells me you've performed Hajj, mashallah, by the grace of Allah, 3 times, and each experience and each context was a little bit different. So maybe let's start there. Tell us about each Hajj experience, what was different about it, what was special about it.
All right, so the first Hajj was in 1992. I was teaching at Wits University then, so just before the change to democracy. And I had the good pleasure of going with late Maulana Yahya Bam and his family for Hajj. In those days, we didn't have any tour operators and no sahuk and those kinds of things. So Maulana Musa Pando had got together a group of us, and he basically acted as our Amir, as the person taking us on Hajj. He made all the practical arrangements. What was really unique about it was just the spiritual dimensions of that Hajj. We found ourselves in the company of Maulana Abdul al-Haq rahmatullah alayhi, Siddiq Banwi rahmatullah alayhi, Mufti Mahmud al-Hassan Gangohi rahmatullah alayhi, Hakim Muhammad Shah Akhtar rahmatullah alayhi. I mean, these, to spend the day of Arafat in their presence, in their company, was a unique privilege that Allah Ta'ala has bestowed upon us. The dua was made by Hazrat Hakim Saab at the time of Wukuf, and the deep spirituality and just the closeness that one could feel with these saintly people in those moments, I think, will live with us forever. I don't think all of them, in fact, have passed away, including Maulana Yahya Bam has passed away. So who remains with us is really Maulana Musa Pando, Maulana Ibrahim Pando. These are among our elders now. And we thank him for arranging these things for us. So I think those stand out. The days itself, I mean, Mufti Saab, Mufti Mahmud al-Hassan was a great figure, well known even in Saudi Arabia. And there would be days when we would eat on a simple cardboard dastakhan, whatever we could get from one of the Pakistani restaurants. And on other days, Mufti Saab would get an invitation from the owners of Soli Gold, for example, and we would have almost a near royal feast. But these were, I think, unique moments that we cherish over the years.
The second Hajj then Ismail, so the first one was in
1992. The second Hajj was in 2002. Again, very different from the first experience. This time we were invited by the Saudi government. So there was a group of members of parliament. From our side, it was Anwar Sufti, Muhammad Baba, and myself, the late Ismail Ibrahim, who passed away very recently, Qasim Saluji, from people know him from Jeswa, Sheikh Ibrahim Gabriels, and Sheikh Kabir. So this was a completely different kind of experience. Somehow, when we landed at Jeddah airport, our group was split up. So Anwar Sufti and Ismail Ibrahim and the 2 sheikhs, they were taken to the royal palace, and we lost complete touch with them. We never saw them for the 5 days of Hajj. In fact, we only saw them afterwards. So it was myself, Muhammad Baba, and the late Qais Saluji. When we were put together with a group of 40 academics, historians really, from all over the Middle East, the Arab world, and the North African countries. They were invited by the Hajj Ministry to a conference as part of the Hajj proceedings, to a conference looking at the historical dimensions of Hajj, how people traveled 300, 400, 500 years ago from their countries to Hajj. What was the nature of interaction? What was the trading relations? So it was really the historical research papers that these people had prepared. from Sudan, Morocco, Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Pakistan. So just to be in the company of those, well, let me say, intellectuals, academics, historians, and sharing the 5 days of Hajj with them was, again, a unique experience. Illuminating, educating, of course, discussion would go from the past to at least the present. At that time, it was 2002. And just sharing experiences with the rest of them about the state of play in the Muslim world. Again, a memorable Hajj, very different from the first time. And then the third experience was really in 2018. I had no intention of going for Hajj. Mona Yahya Bang was linked to Khidmatul Awam then, and he was about to leave for his Hajj, and he just told me, I'll see you in Hajj. And I had made absolutely no preparations, nothing whatsoever. And really, 10 or 12 days before that, I got a visa from the Saudi ambassador then. He was kind enough to give me a visa. And I landed up in Azizia where Maulana was, and we did our Hajj together. So that was really my last Hajj with my Sheikh, and he's no more now.
Subhanallah, fascinating. I mean, the different experiences. You talk about the second one where, as members of parliament, you're invited by the kingdom. There is a delegation currently there, somewhat different, I suppose. The reasons they're trying to overlook the entire Hajj process and see how it can be improved and how, um, you know, greater ease can be facilitated for South African Hajjaj in particular. But it also brings into perspective for our listeners and viewers that there are these ongoing efforts, whether it be on the academic front, historians and academics, politicians, all going for Hajj, but with an eye on something bigger.
Yeah, I think, we sometimes have a very personalized view or just our tour group, and South Africans tend to talk about the hotel facilities and of course their day-to-day experiences. I mean, and sometimes Hajj comes with its problems, with its own tests. Um, but I think when we look at it from the point of view of a managing authority like the Saudi authorities, to manage the movement of 2 to 3 million people in a compressed, geographical area, to look at all its dimensions, from travel to security to health to cleanliness, to general mobility of people, to efficiency, passport controls. It's a massive, massive operation. And sometimes we lose sight of the scale of this project, the annual Hajj. And I think within that whole context of managing every aspect of it, they considered having a historical conference looking at Hajj over centuries. And each country has its own experiences. Some people traveled by ship in the old days. Others would go by camel. Others would go in caravans, on horse cart, etc. I mean, on horses, etc. So there were unique experiences from a historical point of view, which in today's modern world and with the technology that we have, people have actually forgotten. But for the better part of our heritage, travel was a very difficult, long, and tedious process, irrespective of from where you traveled, unless you were in an immediate vicinity or just in the Arab world. Even then, travel was not an easy thing. Currency, today we can exchange money so easily. But in the old days, I mean, you came with your currency from your country. And how would trade take place? Where would you stay? They were not the modern hotels of today. So I think these were fascinating dimensions. And of course, privately after that, we had the audience with the Minister of Hajj. Um, and, he told us that, look, you South Africans, you guys are reasonably well developed. Your people are quite well educated. They understand the modern concepts, etc. Why do we have so many problems from you people about your agents and your complaints and those kinds of things? We were a bit embarrassed, I must tell you that, because I mean, you were invited by the minister as a courtesy after the Hajj, and then the first thing he raises with you is just how the South Africans, our behavior, our attitude. It wasn't. We don't put our best foot forward, unfortunately. I hope things are changing now. And it was really out of that discussion, that said, can't you create with your government some organization, some committee that can become a facilitating mechanism between us and just your tour agents and etc., that are coming. We can't deal with every tour agent and tour operator. So can't you guys create some kind of a mechanism? So when we got back, we had raised the matter with Aziz Fahad then, who was Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. And he said, look, we are a secular state. We can't have a statutory organization for people going to Hajj, because then others go to India, for example, the Hindu and Tamil community, they go for religious reasons. The Jewish community go to Israel. The Roman Catholics go to Rome. So we can't have a plethora of statutory organizations now looking at religious travels for people. And then this is strictly a religious matter. It is better if we organize it through the various religious organizations of the community. Government will give it de facto recognition, and we will also request the Saudi authorities to give it some kind of recognition. So it was really out of that a process of consultations started. I think it was in around 1996 or 97. And then SAWUK was created. I mean, myself and the late Dr. Rashid Mahmoud Saluji played quite a central role, together with Aziz Bahad, in establishing SAWUK. Of course, SAWUK has developed. I think it has developed its technological expertise, its experience, its capability, and by and large, the Hajj is working reasonably well. Of course, there's always room for improvement. But I think the hypercritical attitude that sometimes South Africans adopt is not helpful. We might be thinking that we're keeping people, holding them accountable, and we're keeping SAWUK on its toes, etc. But the image that sends across to the other authorities on the other end, that we really don't know, what we're doing. We just complain a lot. Remember, we are a small number of South Africans. We're 2.5 or 3,500 people that we go. Compared to 2.5 or 3 million people that eventually get there, we're almost like a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
We carry on as if we're the center of the earth when we get there, So I think a little bit of self-reflection. Of course, there's room for improvement. And Minister Naledi Pandor has appointed this ministerial committee to look at, in a more objective manner, whether there's any legitimacy to any of the complaints. That's fine. That's a good thing. But at the same time, to see whether we can't improve and enhance our own operations and our relationship with the Saudi authorities, so that we don't have this endless year in and year out problem of complaints and accusations and those kinds of things. It doesn't help our image. It doesn't help our profile, with the Saudi authorities. So I think we need a little bit of introspection.
Ismail, Jazakumullah for your time. Really insightful perspective. Appreciate it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was Haji Dr. Ismail Vadi.